This overload.
Welcome to Technically Speaking, the show for the technically challenged. My name is Stephanie, and today we're going to be talking about apps for your smartphone. Whether you have an iPhone or an Android, the apps, those little squares that open up a world of possibilities, are probably the most fun you're going to have with your phone. Sure, a smartphone is supposed to make and receive phone calls, but honestly, it's the apps where you really get into the function. Now, probably every year, in fact, every month, you'll see new lists of the top 10 apps. If you go to the App Store at any time, they list the top apps which have been the most downloaded by category, whether they're productivity apps or games or all sorts of things. Well, I looked at all those lists and I came up with my list of favorite apps. Some that I use constantly, some I discovered just when I was preparing for this episode, and now they're going to become lifelines for me. The first app we're going to talk about is the Uber app. I have it right here on screen in the top corner. Uber is a new car service, and what it does is wherever you are, you can have kind of like calling a taxi cab to you instantly. Let's open up that Uber app. You'll see on the screen there, it's showing where we are right now filming, and it says 5 minutes. That means I can have a car here to pick me up in just 5 minutes. Well, 5 minutes from now, I'm still a little busy here on the set, but I want to show you some other things. I'm going to scan in. Now look at the map. Do you see all the little cars driving around? That's how close the nearest Uber car is. If I were scanning over Manhattan, you would see them all over the place. The Uber app not only can set my location either to where I am right now, or I could type in an address, but it already has pre-saved my credit card information or PayPal. So with just one finger, I can ask a car to pick me up in 5 minutes, maybe even less, pay for it, and then just go downstairs and wait for it to arrive. Uber is remaking the entire way that people hail cabs. You don't have to stand out in the middle of the street and wave around in a rainy day hoping that something stops for you. So this is the Uber app. I had never tried it before. I must admit I generally drive rather than hail a cab, but since it made so many lists, I figured I'd better check it out. So if you are somebody who's hailing a cab very often, especially if you're in a big city, the Uber app is definitely the way to go. Going back to our home screen here, the second app that I hadn't heard of before, but now I'm hooked, is called Duolingo. Duolingo is an app where you can learn another language. Look here on the screen at all the different languages you could learn: Spanish, French, German, Italian. They even list how many people are learning that language. Italian, 11.6 people are learning Italian right now using the Duolingo app. Goes down to some languages I might not have even heard of. Esperanto, Ukrainian, Polish, and then here's some listed in languages I can't even read. I guess I better do more of the Duolingo app. What it does once you get started, I decided I was going to learn French. And when you're learning it, it's a lot with pictures so that you can learn the language easily, and it will speak to you as well. It ranks how you're going. It times you, wanting you to work for whatever you set it for, 5 minutes or 10 minutes a day, and kind of grades you as you go along. So if you have any fun vacations planned and you'd like to pick up another language, the Duolingo app is a great one for you. There's also possibilities if you are a non-English speaker. So if you're a native Spanish speaker and you want to learn another language, you can also be on the Duolingo app. That's two apps that I had never even heard of before I began researching for this episode. The third app up here is called Colorify. There were lots of apps of this type, but this was the most popular one right now. It seems that I hadn't realized it, but adult coloring books have suddenly become all the rage. Actual coloring books, like people sitting with colored pencils or even watercolors. I can't remember the last time I colored, but this Colorify app was really quite interesting. I can click on a category like animals, and when I find one that I like, just choose my colored pencils. What I like about this app is I can't possibly make a mistake and go out of the lines. And little by little, color in my little lion here. When I first heard of this, I thought, why on earth would adults be coloring? And I thought that as I kept coloring and coloring and coloring. It is actually rather relaxing. There were at least a dozen different apps in the App Store all about this new coloring thing. And when I tried to explain it to someone, they thought I was nuts, but yet millions of people are downloading these apps. So if you're looking for a new way to relax, maybe not those high-pressure games or anything, the Colorify app might be just what you're looking for. The last one on the top row there, we're going back outside into our cars, is the Waze app. You might have heard of the Waze app before. The Waze app is what tells you whether or not there's traffic. And what happens is all of the different users of this app register when they are in traffic or passing an accident. So let me click on it right now. What you'll see here is a map, and you'll notice when you're looking at the map that some places, oh, it's evening now, so we're in dark. Some places are going to show up, oh, there's a big problem on the Cross Island Parkway, I see. And every one of these different dots, the red, the green, the yellow, is a different reported fact, whether it was construction or an accident or something like that. Besides having this map feature, and as I scan out even further, you could see which highways we're probably going to want to avoid, those red and orange ones. Another great feature of the Waze app is that I can tell it where I want to go, and they'll tell me what the best route is, so that I would avoid all of that construction or an accident or something like that, saving some valuable time. One thing I didn't realize that the Waze app was going to do is that it also asked permission to go into my calendar. And since it now knows all of the things that I'm scheduled to do, it automatically beeps at me when I should leave and tells me what route I should take to get there. So if I had a meeting out in Huntington, for example, the Waze app, knowing that I had a meeting at 3 in the afternoon, would tell me what time I should leave based upon the traffic conditions. I don't know if I found that helpful or invasive, but it was definitely interesting. I know people who swear by the Waze app. And evidently, although I haven't tried this myself, if you're using this app while driving, and let me say, if you're using this app while being a passenger in a car, because I don't want you using it while you're the driver, but if you pass another car who's also on it, your phone will bing, so I guess you could wave to each other or something. Haven't tried that yet. So those are our first 4 apps. The Uber app, which is a quick way of calling a taxi or a car service. Duolingo, which is a great way to pick up a second language, whether you have a trip planned or maybe you're a student and you want to practice your Spanish or Italian for class. The Colorify app, which is an adult coloring book, and there are plenty of those out there. And the Waze app, which is a traffic app. Now, starting the next row, we have apps that might not have made the top lists that are out there, but in my family, they're certainly the top. And the next row, the first one, is the gluten-free app. It turns out that my younger son has celiac disease. So I'm constantly reading labels and checking out what he can and cannot eat, trying to keep him from getting sick. Well, the gluten-free scanner, if you look at it there, all I have to do is scan the barcode of an item to find out if it's safe. Well, I have here wheat thins. I'm virtually certain wheat thins have wheat in them, but let's check it out. Contains gluten. I knew that. On the other hand, if I was looking at this gluten-free cake mix, I'm going to hope that this one comes out safe. Gluten-free. I have to tell you, as the mom of someone who has this disorder, it's not always as obvious as that. For example, here's a jar of red cabbage. I would think this is gluten-free, but when I scanned it with my app, I discovered it contains gluten. When I read the ingredients fully, which of course are written in tiny, tiny print, they're right. So it's a great app. I walk around the grocery store with it constantly, checking out items that are unfamiliar to me and just making sure. It might not make the top 10 list on other people's lists, but it certainly makes it on mine. The next app is called Night Sky. There are a couple of variations of this one available in the App Store, and I must admit this is a personal favorite of mine. Let me click on the app, and you're going to see instantly what Night Sky is. With this app, when you're standing outside, and do you ever look up and say, I wonder if that's a star or a planet, or wondering what constellation it was? Well, if you look as I scan around, you can see all of the stars and all of the constellations get named. This line in the middle is showing the horizon, so I can actually look at things that are not visible to us, like the sun, because it's nighttime right now. What I find most fascinating about this app, do you see all these little spaceship-looking items that are out there? Those are all the satellites. On this app, you can follow the satellites, the International Space Station. If any of our rockets are up there, they're going to show up on the app as well. So using this app, you can go out and say, wow, that's a pretty bright star. Is it moving? Is it a plane? Or maybe it's a planet. Night Sky, a great app for anyone who's interested in astronomy or just plain old interested in seeing what's out there. I've enjoyed that one immensely. The next app, Today's Ticks. Okay, I admit this did not make a top 10 list, but in my house it's a top one. Today's Ticks is an app that you can go to get tickets for Broadway shows. Now, if you've ever thought that Broadway shows are way too expensive, you obviously haven't checked out the Today's Ticks app. Take a look at some of these prices. $45, $37, $10, $55, $45. Using this app, you can find some cheap seats and instantly just click on the show you're interested in, the day you want to see it, pick your seats, and what's amazing is they don't even bother sending the tickets to you. When you get to the theater the night of the show, a representative from the company will be standing outside to meet you. There are so many people using this app that the last time I went, probably last week, I went to see a show. It was $32. So I showed up at the theater, and the Today's Tick representative was standing outside wearing the red sweatshirt, and she had a stack of envelopes to give out to patrons. I simply walk up to her, tell her my name, she has me sign for the tickets because she has our ID and all, and walk right into the theater. Couldn't be easier than that. And did I mention I saw a Broadway show for $32 last week? The week before, I paid a whopping $37, but I really wanted to see that one. The Today's Tick app. Please be sure to check this one out. Along with Broadway shows, They're also putting on here the opera. So if you've ever wanted to go to the opera house, $25. That's a great way to go. The Big Apple Circus is on here as well. And just now during the Christmas season, the Rockettes were on there. So all the big New York shows are on there at tickets starting at just $10. That's the Today's Tick app. Okay, the last one on that row is something that just comes pre-installed with your phone. It's not like you have to go looking for it or something, but I love it. It's the calculator. I admit, every time I go out to dinner with friends, we have to whip out the calculator app and figure out how to split the bill and the tip and everything else. I'm not quite sure how I lived without it. We don't even have calculators in the house anymore. We just pull out the calculator app. So our second row, we had the gluten-free scanner. We had my favorite for star watching, night sky. Today's ticks, if you want to go see a show in New York. And of course, the calculator. Let's look at the third row. Okay, I put a pretty boring choice as my first choice on the third row, the Starbucks app. I'm not here trying to push Starbucks or anything, but lots of different restaurants now have apps that with the app, you can walk into the store and just pay by scanning your phone. When you do that, you rack up points. So with this Starbucks app, for example, every time I go, every 10th visit, I guess it is, I get a free drink. The other thing that the Starbucks app is doing nowadays, let's see, I have $19 on my Starbucks card now. I guess I should go out for a drink after this. But nowadays, besides paying for your drink on the app, you can actually order in advance. So if you know you're going to be passing by and you want to pre-order to avoid the line, you could do that right from the app. As I mentioned, I have the Starbucks app up here, but there are plenty of other restaurants and coffee shops that have similar apps that you can pay and even order in advance. Certainly makes your life easier. Pizzerias are doing this, and coffee shops, and even pretty soon some big name restaurants. So it's the quick way to pay and eat. Okay, we have another one that's pretty basic, but I probably use it at least once a week. Next to the Starbucks app there, I have the flashlight. If you haven't used your flashlight app before, you don't know what you're missing. Here, I'm going to press the button, but it's not going to show much up there. Where you'll see it is coming out the back of my phone. And while you might think it's a little tiny light, I have to tell you, that light packs a punch. I've walked into completely dark buildings with no electricity, up and down staircases, etc., using just the flashlight app. It's a great thing to have if you've got to crawl under your sink or a cabinet to find something. You always have a flashlight with you. And I don't know about you, but I can't find a flashlight in my house. So the flashlight app. The first flashlight apps were just the screen light, but now that they're coming out the back, it's a much stronger flashlight. And as I said, you can even walk around in pitch dark with the flashlight app. Next one on that row, the Kindle app. The Kindle app is especially good if you happen to read using a Kindle. Now, you might say, goodness, I'm not going to read generally on my iPhone. And you're right, it's probably a little small. I'll click into one of my books here. There we go. Not awful. I could read like this. And I can make the text bigger or smaller. But one of the nice things about the Kindle app is that it automatically syncs to your Kindle, or if you read on an iPad. So let's say you leave a book on your nightstand. And when I say book, I meant an electronic book. And yet one day you're out and you get stuck at the doctor's office and you wish you had your book with you. Well, you do have your book with you. It will automatically sync to a real Kindle or a Kindle app on other devices. So if you have an iPad and an iPhone and you're up to page 173, both devices will be up to page 173. Even if I had never turned this app on before in my life, all of the pages are up to whatever they should be in the real copies. So the Kindle app is a great way to read on the go, even if you think you wouldn't read this small, although I must admit I've read novels this small. But the nice thing is that ability to keep up with the exact same pages, so you don't have to remember what you're up to in every single book. The Kindle app also hooks up automatically with Amazon. So if you want to buy new books, you could do it right through the app and have new books downloaded instantly to your iPhone or whatever you're using. It works on Android systems as well. So if you're lying on the beach and you finish one book, you can buy another one and start right away. The next app on this row is something I had never heard of before, Magister. But now that I've heard of it, I must admit I'm a little bit hooked. Let me show you what it does. What it does is it makes movies. It's going to automatically open up all of my photos. And we're going to make a little movie. You'll see looking at my photos that I really like my dog. So let me make a movie about the dog. I'm going to choose different photos that have the dog in them. Let's see. Here's another dog picture. Yeah, we like that dog a lot. Dog picture. And I'll grab one more dog picture here. And that one. So now I say next. And I get to choose a style. Well, since we're doing pets, I'm going to choose the pets one. And all I have to do is say, make my movie. Add a title. Let's see. My dog. Make my movie. The app is going to automatically sync my movie together with music and all of my pictures. I could then take my movie and post it to Facebook or Instagram or any place I want with absolutely no work on my part whatsoever. While it's making my movie, which should only take about a minute, let me mention that all of the apps that I'm showing you today are available for Apple iPhones, or if you have some sort of an Android phone, you would be going to the Google Play Store instead of the App Store. All of the apps I've shown you thus far are all available for free, no money whatsoever. Now, when there are free apps, you'll generally see some sort of advertising on the app, little links that they're hoping that you're clicking on. They'll also offer you, if you would like to get rid of the ads, you could pay for the app. And fortunately, most apps are under $5, but the version that I'm showing you here today are all the free versions. So everything we're doing, perfectly free. Okay, I see our movie is ready to go. Let's see what our movie looks like. Well, that's a heck of a lot better than I could have made on my own. That's a free app called Magister. And I could take that movie and now post it on Facebook or Instagram or any place I want. And people will think I'm so talented. No, I'm just obsessed with the dog. On the next row, the first app there is called Dark Sky. Dark Sky is a great app for weather buffs. There's always a weather app that comes pre-installed on your device. And the weather app will tell you that here in New York, it's going to be, 35 degrees tomorrow, whatever it's going to be. But they mean New York, the whole area. With Dark Sky, they actually know exactly where I am. Without my even telling them, they plopped in an address there because of GPS location. And they're going to tell me exactly what the weather is like here. Now, I'm only sorry that it's not raining or about to rain, because with the Dark Sky app, they'll actually tell you not just that it might rain tomorrow, but they'll tell you exactly what time it's going to rain. For example, they'll tell me that in 6 minutes it's going to start raining because they're watching the radar maps and they're clocking in with my exact location. If I scan over here, you can see a radar map of the whole world. And right now, wow, look at all that rain over California. If I zoomed in street by street, certainly some of those streets don't have rain. Just like in any rainstorm, the rain does stop. So if you're one of those people who wants to know exactly what the weather is going to be, or even if you're just running to the store and you're not sure whether or not to bring an umbrella, you could check the Dark Sky app and double check, it's not going to rain in the next hour. I'm good to go. So this is the weather app for people who are a little more type A than just knowing it might rain. They want exact information on the rain. The next app I have up here is called MyFitnessPal. Well, if you're one of those people who made a New Year's resolution to either get in better shape or lose weight or something like that, MyFitnessPal is a great app. There are plenty of them out there. Some of them tie in with an item that you'll wear on your wrist. This one is all by itself. It tells me what my goal calorie count is. If you look closely, you'll notice that it thinks I haven't eaten all day. I have to program what I've eaten all day. But what I liked, besides it counting my calories for me, is look underneath that. It says that I have taken 1,528 steps. It's a step counter. Because the phone is with me all day, it knows how many steps I've walked. Oh, and it thinks I'm going to walk 10,000 today? Well, I guess after I finish here, I have a lot of walking left to do. It tracks what your goals are as far as getting fit, losing weight, gaining weight, whatever you're aiming for, so it keeps you on target. As I mentioned, there are plenty of apps just like that. This one just happened to be one of the free ones that I grabbed. And of course, I couldn't possibly do an app show without showing off my obsession when it comes to games. Words with Friends. There it is. If you're ever a Scrabble lover, Words with Friends is a way of playing Scrabble against all of your friends. So here's a Scrabble game and my letters, and I'll just plop them in there to make the best word that I can as far as triple letter points and double letter points. You could see from this screen, oh wow, I have a lot of games going that I have to play. So I'll go in there and see how I could win. There are plenty of iPhone and Android games out there. Some are a little more active. This is about as active as I want to get, is playing Words with Friends. And then finally, in case I need to wake up, here it is, the clock. It has a world clock so that if I'm going to be in various cities, I can keep track. It does come with your phone, but my favorite thing is the alarm feature. I could simply set an alarm to wake up tomorrow morning, or today if I'm going to take a nap. So those are the apps that I use the most often on my phone. I hope that you found some that you like. All of these are available in the App Store or in the Google Play Store, and they're all available for free. So go scouting around, check out what you find, and really enjoy that phone of yours. Thanks for joining us on Technically Speaking.